Air Canada 149 Heavy, ILS 17 left.
Air Canada 149 Heavy, Calgary Tower number 2, currently 5 in trail, Airbus in front, wind 0708 knots, clear to land, runway 17 left.
Runway 17 left, Air Canada 149.
Welcome to this course on airspace. This is not one of the general requirements for basic operations, but I think it's important to have a general understanding of the classes to help you avoid flying in the wrong areas. What is airspace? The official definition is a portion of the atmosphere above a nation's territory that's controlled. Let's break down airspace and see how it's classified. So airspace is broken down into 4 types: controlled, uncontrolled, special use, and other. It's further broken down into 7 categories, with each category assigned a letter A through G. Now let's take a visual look at how airspace is broken down in this infograph. Class A and B airspace are altitude-based and start at 18,000 and 12,500 feet, respectively, so you won't encounter them unless something goes really wrong. Class A airspace is mostly used by commercial airliners for traveling between cities or countries, and they're not represented in sectional charts, and they're also not relevant to drone pilots. Class B airspace refers to the airspace surrounding the country's busiest airports, including major air travel hubs like Toronto, Vancouver, Chicago, and LA. Class C, D, and E are similar from the perspective of a basic drone pilot, meaning they are controlled airspace that can touch the ground, typically when associated with an aerodrome. On aviation charts, Class C and D will be marked with square bracket shapes, and Class E with a dashed line. You are not permitted to operate in Class C, D, or E airspace with a basic pilot certificate. Typically, aerodrome airspace starts at ground level and extends upward in a funnel-like shape at 3, 5, 7, or 15 nautical mile radius or more from the center of the aerodrome and up to 3,000 feet or so above aerodrome elevation. It's not always round, so you want to check aviation charts, the Canada Flight Supplement, or other reliable sources, like the National Research Council of Canada's Drone Site Selection Tool or the Drone Pilot Canada app, to check the airspace before you fly. I'll put a link to these in the resource section of this course, and I'll talk more about them later. Next, I'm going to talk about Class G airspace. We'll come back to Class F shortly. Class G is uncontrolled airspace and does not require any permissions before operating within it. Just be sure to follow the rules and be safe. Class F airspace. This is designated as special use. It has 3 subcategories within it. They are CYR, CYA, and CYD. This takes on the level of control associated with the airspace alongside of it, and you cannot fly in Class F restricted airspace without prior approval from the agency it's restricted for. The first of subcategories within Class F airspace is CYA. CYA is a Class F advisory, and be cautious of other operation types in this area. It's advisory because of activities like helicopter operations, flight training, and hang gliding. All these activities bring human-crewed aircraft through the area well below 400 feet. And this type of advisory will also have a letter following, which designates the type of activity happening in the area. Below I've listed all of these, so A is for aerobatics, F is for aircraft testing or flying, H is for hang gliding, M is for military, P is for parachuting, S is for soaring, as in gliding, and T is for training. The next subcategory in Class F airspace is CYR. This is Class F restricted, and you are not permitted to fly in this area without approval from the agency it's been restricted for. Examples would be around military areas such as weapons test ranges, prisons, etc. Finally, the last subcategory is CYD. This stands for Class F Danger, and you will typically see this surrounding international waters. If the surrounding airspace is Class G, you can operate in CYAs and CYRs, with these other appropriate permissions and cautions in place. If Class F is surrounded by Class C, D, or E, You will not be permitted to operate there unless you first get an advanced pilot's certificate. In addition to being the agency that is the control associated with control zones, controlled airspace, and air traffic control, NAV Canada provides other services to all types of pilots through a centralized office. This office is called the Flight Information Center, or FIC, in each Flight Information Region, or FIR, across Canada. NAV Canada provides weather briefings, NOTAMs, and other advisory services. Wherever you are in Canada, you can call them at 1-866-WX-BRIEF. This concludes the lesson on airspace classes.